The contract with your crappy factory is terminated.
John, the manager at Smile Company, spat out those words with a laugh. The contract fell to the floor. It was the final blow from Smile Company, signaling the end of our dealings. He probably thought I would collapse at his feet and beg through my tears. Great. Thank you.
What?
Then we'll cancel all future deliveries. Thank you for everything up until now. John was taken aback by my sudden reaction. Seeing his bewildered expression, I couldn't help but laugh. After all, we wanted to end our dealings with them, so this was a perfect opportunity. Turning on my heel, I left Smile Company's building, feeling a sense of new beginnings. This event marked the start of a period of significant growth and development for my company, Johnson Factory. My name is David Johnson, and I'm 43 years old. I am the president of a small factory in town. Though it's small, it's a company I started and nurtured myself. It's like my child, and its name is Johnson Factory. It has built up a solid track record and grown to the point where it now boasts several major clients. Due to certain circumstances, I started working right after high school and got a job at a local factory. That's where I discovered the joy of manufacturing and dreamed of having my own factory in my early 20s. After saving up enough money, I went independent and started my dream factory. The days of working as the boss were incredibly hectic. However, time flew by because every day was fulfilling. Looking back, my life was rather unremarkable, especially my high school years, which were filled with bitter memories I'd rather forget. But my real life started here. My life blossomed after I entered the workforce, and things went smoothly. I even got married, thanks to a fortunate encounter. My beautiful, younger wife, Nancy, is intelligent and dependable. She's such a wonderful woman that I feel I don't deserve her. I once asked her what she saw in me, and she smiled and said,
I think your passion for manufacturing is wonderful. Bringing happiness and smiles to people through your work is truly amazing.
"You're giving me too much credit."
Really? It's just a normal assessment.
Nancy understands and supports my work. Without her, neither my life nor my work would have gone this well. Though we haven't been blessed with our children, I believe that with her, we can continue to have happy days. Life was fulfilling, but one day I had an unpleasant encounter. It was around the time I turned 43 and began to feel like I was finally settling into my role as president. I got a call informing me that the representative for one of our major clients, Smile Company, was changing. The previous rep was a young, energetic person, but I wondered what the new one would be like. Feeling a mix of anticipation and anxiety, I was surprised when the new representative came to greet me at the factory. It was my high school classmate, John.
Hey, David, long time no see. I didn't expect you to be president.
John,
Well, even though you're the president, it's still a small factory. Must be tough managing a small business.
he was as obnoxious as ever. With 10 employees and our level of sales, we can't be considered a small business, so his comment was quite rude. But I was surprised to see John, as I hadn't seen him since our graduation. I never expected to meet him again like this. John didn't seem too surprised, as if he already knew I was the president, and he looked around the factory with a scrutinizing gaze.
You've been making parts in this old factory? There might be rats around. You're not producing defective products, are you?
Don't worry, we keep everything clean and well organized. We also have ISO 9001 certification. ISO is an international standard. There are various types of standards, but having this certification means we are trusted not only domestically, but also in international transactions. And my factory obtained it early on. I said this with pride, but John seemed more interested in my tone.
What's that? By the way, why are you being so formal?
Well, you are an important client.
Is it because I took your ex-girlfriend? You're such a wimp, David.
Please stop it. I didn't want him shouting about my ex in a loud voice. I was worried my employees might have heard that. Yes, in the past, John had taken my girlfriend. Back when I was in high school, I got my first girlfriend. A popular girl in my class became my girlfriend. And for a moment, I was overjoyed, and John started harassing me. Being at the top of the social hierarchy, he couldn't stand that a quiet, unremarkable guy like me had a cute girlfriend, and he mocked me behind my back. At first, it was just hiding my textbooks or excluding me, but it escalated to throwing away my lunch and my shoes. A few friends tried to stand by me, but as they feared becoming John's next target, their numbers dwindled to 1 or 2. I couldn't blame them. Nobody wants to get caught up in that kind of mess. Those days were already hard enough. But then one day, my girlfriend finally broke up with me.
Sorry, but John is just cooler than you.
Sorry, David. You were never good enough for her anyway.
They stood there, arm in arm, looking down at me.
I can't believe she would fall for a guy like him.
I was betrayed by the person I trusted. I lost my friends, and my heart broke. Feeling utterly miserable, I ended up skipping school. I couldn't even go to school and spent my days just wandering around the local parks and streets. Eventually, I couldn't even focus on my studies. That's why I started working right after high school. But then I discovered my passion for manufacturing, started my own company, and became its president. So life is full of surprises. I was showing John around the factory for a while, but he just looked around with a bored expression. However, when we got to the office, his eyes lit up.
Hey, the office lady is cute. Introduce me to her.
I followed his gaze and was horrified. You must be joking. She's my wife. The person who caught John's eye was none other than my wife, Nancy, who was working on the accounting at her desk. At 32, Nancy is indeed a beautiful woman who draws attention.
Nancy's presence motivates me to work hard.
Nancy is also a pleasant sight for the other employees. Not only is she beautiful, but she's also quick-witted and highly competent, which is why she handles the company's accounting. That, unfortunately, led to the situation where John noticed her.
So, she's David's wife.
John smirked. Then he approached Nancy, who was busy with her work, and spoke to her.
Nice to meet you. I'm John, the new representative from Smile Company. As expected of the president's wife, Nancy, you are stunning.
Nice to meet you too.
Nancy responded, looking puzzled. She had no idea that the man in front of her had once stolen my girlfriend. I, on the other hand, couldn't forcibly pull John away in front of the other employees, so I could only watch nervously. Surprisingly, John only exchanged a few polite words as a business associate and left the office. But I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that this wouldn't be the end of it. Sure enough, our dealings with Smile Company brought significant challenges for our company. They increased the number of orders. While this was good for sales, the problem was the short deadlines and pressure to cut costs. We were required to deliver in a very short time and were also asked to reduce our invoice amounts. Given our long relationship with Smile Company, we extended our working hours and kept our prices reasonable to meet their demands. However, this negated the increase in sales. In fact, more employees started to dread orders from Smile Company.
Oh my God, it's Smile Company again?
A 1-week deadline? That's crazy.
I tried my best to calm and support my employees. I'm sorry. I'll try to negotiate for more time. But for now, please start the work.
Okay, but David, please don't overwork yourself and stay late. We'll help too.
I'm sorry. Thank you. I am truly blessed with great employees. I almost teared up. Later, I contacted John to ask if he could extend the deadline a bit. Surprisingly, he agreed to our request.
Well, all right. But in that case, prepare half the lot first, and I'll come to pick it up.
Oh, okay. Thank you. He's more reasonable than I thought. I felt relieved. Preparing half the lot right away was doable. I immediately started getting the products ready for delivery as he requested. John came to pick up the half lot promptly and agreed to extend the deadline by a few days. So, he can be flexible if you talk to him. I let my guard down, and that was my mistake.
David, load the delivery into my company car. I'm going to use the restroom.
With that, John headed towards the office. While I was busy carrying the goods at the back of the factory, Nancy came running from the office.
David,
For some reason, her clothes were slightly disheveled. Nancy, what's wrong? Why are you so flustered?
I don't know what to do.
Just then, John approached, making loud footsteps.
That was harsh, Nancy. Look, you left a mark.
Nancy flinched and hid behind me. John had scratch marks on the back of his hand. Nancy's disheveled clothes, her fearful demeanor towards John, and the scratch marks on John's hand. Imagining the worst possible scenario from that, my face turned pale. Did you try to with Nancy?
Oh, come on. I haven't done anything yet.
Yet? A chill ran down my spine. If she hadn't escaped on her own, Nancy might have been overpowered by John. No, it can't be possible for someone to do such a thing at a client's company. But knowing how John mocked me with my ex-girlfriend in the past, he could do anything. He's a devil who enjoys taking women from me. My blood boiled. Before I knew it, I had grabbed John, who had a smug smile on his face. You bastard!
Oh no.
stop it, David.
The commotion quickly escalated, and employees rushed over. They held me back and calmed me down until I finally regained my composure. However, John, adjusting his disheveled clothes and hair, shouted angrily at me.
I can't do business with a company that has such a violent president. There are plenty of other companies to replace yours.
What did you say? I was about to explode in anger again, but Nancy hugged me from behind to calm me down. John laughed mockingly at the sight.
The only good thing about this company is it's pretty office lady. Too bad. I wanted to have more fun.
I shielded Nancy from his leering gaze. Nancy trembled like a scared puppy until John left in his company car and disappeared from sight.
I'm sorry, David. It's my fault that we lost the deal with Smile Company.
It's okay. Don't worry, Nancy. I held her tightly. In that moment, I didn't notice the shadow slowly approaching. A few days later, I was summoned to Smile Company. Of course, It was John who called me directly. When I was shown into the meeting room, only John was there, and he casually dropped the document he was holding.
The contract with your crappy factory is terminated.
The document was our basic trade agreement. Are you sure? Even if you can't use our products anymore?
I told you, there are plenty of companies that can replace yours. We're a major company, not a small business. There are tons of companies that want to work with us.
Are you really sure about this?
Persistent, aren't you? Didn't you graduate from being a wimp in high school?
John sneered. Perhaps he thought I would cry and cling. And after looking at the contract on the floor, I looked up and laughed. Great. Thank you.
What?
Then we'll cancel all future deliveries. Thank you for everything up until now. Without picking up the contract, I turned on my heel. I felt a sense of relief at finally being freed from John. I felt a bit sorry for Smile Company, given our long relationship. But assigning John as our contact was the end of it. It was just bad luck. With that in mind, I accepted it and reached for the door.
Wait, David. Are you really okay with this? You're going to lose a huge deal.
Huge? We're talking about a few hundred lots. That's hardly something to brag about.
What?
I deliberately acted defiant, and seeing John's unexpectedly angry face was amusing. It looks like John is the one who's panicking. I slowly turned to face John and said to him, "Just so you know, we hold the patent for that product."
What?
Your company's revenue from using our product was around $2 billion, right? It will be interesting to see if you can produce and sell the same without our product. I could hear John gulp. It seemed my determination was getting to him. However, I no longer intended to suppress the feelings of anger. I was fueled by the desire for revenge for what he did to Nancy.
A patent for that product? It's not even advanced technology. There are plenty of similar products. Don't get cocky.
Is that so? Well, if that's how you feel, then there's nothing more to say. There was no point in saying more to John, who clearly didn't understand the field. Grabbing the doorknob again, I left Smile Company. I immediately made a call. "Hello, Mike. Thanks for taking my call. Yes, I'll be over shortly to discuss the new product. Looking forward to it." I drove off in the company car. The wind blowing in through the slightly open window felt like a fresh breath for Johnson Factory. John said it wasn't advanced technology, but that was his shallow thinking. My factory has many unique technologies, and numerous companies besides Smile Company want to contract with us for our products. We have many overseas clients, and our sales are excellent. Not only that, but we also receive licensing fees for our patents. This was Nancy's suggestion after we got married.
David, your company's technology is amazing. Why don't you get patents?
Patents. Not knowing much about it, I learned from Nancy, who had worked in an office before we got married, and we obtained as many patents as possible. Along with that, we acquired ISO certification for international standards. In no time, the factory expanded globally, and our business partners became large corporations. John mocked my factory as a crappy factory, but we are already constructing a new facility, scheduled for completion next year. It will be the new main factory, while the current one will become the second factory, led by a trusted employee as the plant manager. Feeling a refreshing breeze, I arrived at Rainbow Corporation, our new client. The building was much larger than Smile Company's, and I felt a bit intimidated as I entered.
Hey, David. I've been waiting for you.
Mike, thank you for the opportunity to discuss business today. I look forward to working with you.
Relax. No need to be so formal. I'm looking forward to working with you too.
Friendly as ever, Mike greeted me with a familiar smile. Mike is the department head at Rainbow Corporation. He was also a friend of mine from high school. Armed with my proposal and samples, I confidently presented our products. In fact, right after that commotion, Mike visited my factory. He had heard about my situation from John, with whom he still had business relations. After starting my company and becoming president, many people tried to cozy up to me. I wondered if Mike was just another one of those people, especially after dealing with John, and I faced him with a heavy heart.
I'm sorry about back then, for leaving you alone. I've wanted to apologize for so long.
Really? Then Mike actually apologized to me. He had apparently been carrying the guilt of what happened almost 20 or 30 years ago.
I avoided you because I was scared of getting involved. I regretted it after you stopped coming to school. I couldn't apologize, and even after graduation, it kept bothering me.
Mike,
But you've done amazing things. You became a president, right? You must have worked really hard.
Mike wasn't trying to cozy up to me. He genuinely came to apologize to me. My weary heart began to lighten. You did nothing wrong. Had I been in his position, I don't know what I would have done. More than anything, I was just glad he had come to apologize after all this time. But Mike, why are you still involved with John?
Oh, he's in the same industry. My company is bigger, so he wants to switch jobs and has been trying to build connections with me. It's really annoying.
The same industry? Which company are you with, Mike?
Rainbow Corporation.
Hearing that name made my eyes light up. It's a well-known company that anyone would want to do business with. When I proposed a business deal, Mike seemed puzzled. As the sales manager, he couldn't discuss product development or procurement.
But I can be the point of contact.
Even so, I felt a sense of promise in his words. If this works out, we won't need Smile Company sales. No, we could even expect higher sales. It might be best to stop dealing with a company like Smile Company, which pressures us with deadlines and costs, and has people like John who harass our staff. Just as I began thinking this way, John terminated our contract himself. Listening beside Mike were Rainbow Corporation's president, Alex, and development manager, Sarah, who showed interest in my presentation.
Well, very impressive features.
I think so too. David, how about using these parts to co-develop a new product with us?
Really? Is that okay? Co-development was a new venture for us. While we had experience supplying products, our dealings had never gone beyond that. However, Rainbow Corporation wants us to be involved from the planning stage. The sense of a fresh start I felt in the car earlier was surely this opportunity. Yes, I'd be honored. I greeted them sincerely. When I looked around, there was Mike's familiar smile, and I felt tears welling up. Thus, I embarked on the co-development of a new product with Rainbow Corporation. Although everything was new to me, the days were enjoyable and fulfilling. When we launched the product, they prominently featured Johnson Factory's name, boosting our company's recognition. This led to even higher sales, and I eagerly awaited the completion of the new factory to increase our production capacity. Meanwhile, as for Smile Company, They had to replace our parts with others, but it seems they ended up with inferior products, leading to a recall issue.
Isn't Smile Company in trouble?
Maybe I should switch to another brand.
It became a hot topic on social media, leading to a loss of customer trust and putting the company in a tough spot. Mike told me that John's position within the company became unstable after he unilaterally terminated our contract, resulting in his demotion from department head.
Apparently, he's now in charge of their social media. He thinks his flamboyant personality is perfect for PR.
Really? That sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. A few days after that conversation with Mike, who had now become a drinking buddy, Smile Company predictably caused a stir on social media. It seemed there was a post that came off as condescending to customers, sparking a viral backlash. The issue escalated from online news to TV coverage. Already dealing with recall problems, the social media fiasco added fuel to the fire.
Smile Company's PR is a mess.
Is the guy in charge an old man? Typical bullying vibes.
Eventually, Smile Company stopped posting on social media and went silent. It was sad to see such an end for a longtime business partner, but their management decisions were clearly flawed. Accepting that there was nothing more to be done, I quietly closed my phone. And then, 6 months later, the new factory was finally completed. Looking up at our new workplace, I put my arm around Nancy's shoulder. It's finally done.
Yeah, and with our baby due soon, this year is full of birthdays.
Nancy gently rubbed her large belly. Yes, we were expecting our long-awaited first child. Our baby is a boy and due in 2 months. Well, Nancy,
Yes?
thank you so much for sharing your life with someone like me.
Oh, come on, why so sudden?
Nancy laughed, seemingly a bit tickled, but I truly meant it from the bottom of my heart. As my wife and as our office manager, she supported me and the company. Even after what John did, she continued working with me. And now, she was about to face the incredible challenge of giving birth. I would be forever grateful to her. But Nancy, with a gentle smile, said something unexpected.
Thank you, too, for being kind to me back then.
What?
You don't remember, do you?
Nancy laughed and shared the secret like it was a private story. Back in my senior year of high school, when I was avoiding school, I often spent time idly in a nearby park. There was often a girl practicing riding her bike there. The bike was old, with wobbly training wheels, and her steps were unsteady. Her mom, who was helping her practice, seemed to be struggling too. Watching them, I realized the problem was with the training wheels and the bike's construction. Already interested in tools and machines at that time, I approached them and offered to fix the bike.
I want to help someone.
It wasn't purely out of kindness, but rather a desperate attempt to find some purpose.
Thank you. This bike is so much easier to ride now. You're amazing.
Even so, when the girl smiled at me, I felt a sense of relief.
Making things is great. Even without words or communication, I can make people smile through the things I create.
Looking back, this was the first step that made me consider working instead of going to college. Wait, that girl was you, Nancy?
Yes. It was so amusing to see you not recognize me at all. I kept wondering how long it would take for you to realize.
Well, you've become so beautiful, Nancy. I couldn't recognize you.
Oh, stop it with the flattery.
Though I wasn't flattering her, Nancy just chuckled. I found it surprising that fixing a bike could lead to such a deep affection. But for Nancy, that bike had sentimental value. It was a bicycle Nancy had received from an older friend who was close to her in the neighborhood when she moved. She loved the bike so much that she refused her parents' offer to buy a new one. Despite her efforts, she couldn't ride it properly and practiced every day out of frustration.
I love how you've always made people smile through your creations, David. I loved you then, I love you now, and I will always love you.
Nancy. Her unwavering love touched me deeply, filling me with emotion. Being mindful of our baby, I gently hugged Nancy from the front, as if watching over us. The new factory was bathed in the sunset. With the new factory in operation, Johnson Factory continued to grow. We needed more staff, so we posted a job opening, and to my surprise, John applied.
Come on, hire me for old time's sake. Look, I'll forget about the past.
The sheer nerve of him was astounding. How could he say he would forget the past when he caused so much pain that I could never forget? I pushed his resume back to him. Don't joke around. I don't want to see your face again.
Don't say that, please, David.
John clung to me. If he was begging me, he must have been really desperate. It was understandable. Who would hire an older employee who caused a social media scandal? Moreover, I knew even worse things about him. I shook off John's arm and returned to work. John didn't follow me anymore. 3 years have passed since then. The new factory is now fully operational. Production rates have skyrocketed, and efficiency has improved significantly. Companies from both domestic and international markets are clamoring for our products, leaving us overwhelmed but delighted. Amidst this success, I proposed an idea to Nancy.
What? Open up the patents for free.
Yes, I believe monopolizing this technology isn't good. If it's imitated poorly and shoddy copies flood the market, it's better to share the correct technology. Ever since Smile Company's recall incident, I had been considering opening up our patented technology for free use. Normally, we would charge licensing fees, but I wanted to make it accessible to everyone at no cost. This idea stemmed from a desire to elevate the industry's overall technology and to promote coexistence and mutual prosperity beyond mere competition. As I passionately explained my reasoning, Nancy, my wife and partner, responded as she always did.
That's a wonderful idea. Let's do it.
She always supported my approach to manufacturing. Her support means the world to me. I am truly grateful to her for life, and I believe that's how it should be. All right, let's get started. Clapping my hands, I stood up. Our factory will continue to grow, just like the son born to us. I am working hard to manufacture things that I love so that I can be proud of my child who is growing up every day.